Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here again. A couple questions that I've heard so far during this hearing has to do with the overtime rule. Moving from $23,600 to about $47,000, according to some studies, would cost about 500,000 jobs in the economy. So your comments seem to be a mixed bag. According to Tammy McCutcheon, who was an hourly and wage person at the Department of Labor under the Bush administration, moving it up from 23,000 to maybe 32,000 would make sense based on the previous formula that's been used for decades. What would be your approach?
Senator, thank you for the question. If you were to do a cost of living adjustment, and as I mentioned, the world has gotten more expensive and salaries have changed since 2004. So if you were to apply a straight inflation adjustment, I believe that the figure, if it were to be updated, would be somewhere around 33,000, give or take. And so I think the question that I will have to face if I were to become Secretary of Labor is, one, what to do with the litigation. Two, if we determine that the rule as it currently stands should not be the rule that eventually takes place within this litigation context, what would be the correct amount? And I understand that there's a desire on the part of members of this committee for me to sort of state this is exactly what I would do, but this is an incredibly complicated rule. This is something that gets updated about every 15 years. And so for me to sort of on the fly at a hearing state with certainty, I don't think is the responsible approach. What I would say is, one, I understand the extreme economic impact that a doubling has in certain parts of the economy. I understand that it goes beyond a cost of living adjustment. And I understand as well that because of the size of the increase, there are serious questions as to whether the Secretary of Labor even has the power to enact this in the first place, which is what a lot of the litigation, not a lot, which is what the basis of the litigation is. Those are issues that I would want to consult with the individuals at Labor and at Justice that are overseeing the litigation before determining.
Well, I certainly hope that you have already invested a lot of time contemplating what you would do as the next secretary, as opposed to not having invested any time in that conversation, which will be a very important conversation between the overtime rule and the fiduciary rule. These are things that you should be contemplating already. But let's move to a different topic. I think Senator Bennett has mentioned it, perhaps Chairman Alexander and the ranking member as well have talked about the importance of apprenticeship programs. South Carolina perhaps is the leading state, at least one of the leading states in the country on the success of our apprenticeship programs. I would love to hear how you would encompass or integrate into your objectives going forward an apprenticeship model, taking in consideration the one that Cory Booker and myself have sponsored, the LEAP Act, over 17,734 apprentices and 6,400 participating programs in South Carolina. We have companies throughout the country in South Carolina, from BMW, Boeing, Continental, General Electric, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Bosch, also industries like healthcare and finance that are all integrated in South Carolina and involved in apprenticeship programs. I'd love to hear your model.
Senator, first let me say that South Carolina really is a model of apprenticeship programs. Some of the qualities that makes it so successful is the integration or the public-private partnership, where employers are not involved in name, but they're really deeply involved, and they're directing. These are the types of apprenticeships we need. This is what the workforce is demanding, and I think that involvement of employers is very, very important. I know that South Carolina at the state level also provides incentives for employers to engage in apprenticeships and to hire apprentices And particularly when someone is learning, when someone is quite literally an apprentice, my understanding is that that makes the South Carolina program particularly noteworthy and attractive for an employer to hire an apprentice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Senator Baldwin.